Hello?
Hey, you know what today is?
What?
It's moving day.
Exciting.
I know. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Real Talk with the Pros. I'm Tammy Halford with Picket Fences Realty, and if you're looking for some real talk about real estate, you're in the right place. And today we're going to dive right into the world of moving out. Let's be honest, it's one of the most stressful parts of buying or selling a home.
And I'm Chris, your friendly co-host, who's been through enough moves to know the bubble wrap is basically gold. And we got a great guest today from Country Roads Moving Company. Jake Gardner is here to share some inside tips and some advice that will help you move smarter and quickly.
Whether you're packing up your first apartment and wondering how in the world I accumulated so much stuff, or you're downsizing after decades in the same home and feeling all the emotions that come with it, this episode's got something for you.
We're keeping it real with expert tips, behind the scenes stories, and advice that will help you tackle your next move with confidence.
So grab your coffee
Or your packing tape and jump into it with Jake Gardner, owner of Country Roads Moving.
So tell us how Country Roads Moving got started. Country Roads, is it part of the W and all the West Virginia Country Roads Take Me Home? So tell me a little bit about your business and how the name got started.
Yeah, so I got a business degree at Shepherd University, and so I knew I wanted to do entrepreneurship. I got a corporate job working 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, and I still had the entrepreneurial bug. So in college, I had a truck, and you had friends that needed moves sometimes. So I did that enough times to where I was kind of like being called by my family and my cousins and friends. And after I graduated, I kept doing that for people after the fact, and was just doing nights and weekends here and there. And I realized that there is enough meat under these, on these legs to put a whole business into it. So we started an LLC in 2017.
Okay.
And I went to my wife. I said, "Hey, I need to borrow $15,000 from ourselves because that was the first timestamp for a year of insurance for our business." And then she's like, "So you've never worked in a moving company, you've never started a business, you are working Monday through Friday now, and okay, here we go." So I really attest a lot of my spouse, Paige. She's been a huge supporter for me and the business, and been behind the scenes and in the front of the scenes for a long time. But 2017, we took the plunge and got an LLC. And at first, we had a Chevy Silverado 1500 and a 12 by 5 enclosed trailer that I now use as a trash can. that was our rig, and the trailer was so small. I mean, you'd have to duck your head in to get in. And I've got a few dents hiding in my hairline somewhere of not missing that, But we would, I'd work an 8-hour shift at my day job, and then I'd start a moving job at 6 p.m. and work till 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 in the morning, and do it again the next day, and sometimes the weekend. So at first it was like 2 or 3 jobs in a 7-day stretch was like a victory, like a win, and it was just kind of breaking even and learning the ropes, and how do you find customers, and how do you move someone's things appropriately, and how do you do pricing, and all damage disputes, and bounce checks. Like, you're learning all these things that you just don't learn in school. At least I didn't, or didn't pay attention well enough.
And how to take care of battle scars.
And how to trust your wounds. And
Now, where are you based, and what areas do you primarily, serve?
Yeah. So we're in Fairmont, so Morgantown Avenue, 1801 Morgantown Avenue. We're there now. We've got a small brick and mortar there, just pretty much enough spot for the guys to park their vehicles and their trucks to be housed there. So we've got 5 box trucks, 14 guys working 7 days a week.
Wow.
So we'll do, a low end is 25 moving jobs in a 7-day week. The high end's 35.
Wow.
So when we get to that 35 marker, usually we're doing some smaller deliveries mixed in. So we do some small furniture deliveries for local furniture stores like Star or Ashley or Unique Consignment or Arts and Antiques downtown. To kind of mix in for the work week. But the most of our work it is North Central West Virginia, right? So about 60% of our work is Morgantown, and the rest is like Bridgeport, Clarksburg, Fairmont, and surrounding areas. So right now we're registered with the DOT to be in one state, which is West Virginia. So I can go anywhere in the state lines. But most of our stuff is an hour circle from where we sit.
Right.
So are you looking at expanding?
I mean, yes would be... Yes.
Yes,
yes
but.
and no. Yes and maybe, I think is the verbiage I'd use. Because right now, we have a great staff, but I still put a lot like of the daily admin and sales and phones and taxes and payroll in my hat just to be economical for the business. And it'd be hard to duplicate that into
Sure.
more than I have now, right? So if I did, across the state, I would need bigger trucks and crews for that and more space. And I just, we're just not quite.
Right.
We're learning that the growth is fun, but then having a pausing moment too is where I'm in right now. We've been there for just around 3 years in our new brick and mortar, which we're pretty cozy with. But we're also kind of bursting. I want a 6 truck, but I don't have anywhere to physically park it.
I know, it sounds like you're outgrowing where you are.
Yeah, we're timidly looking for a new spot at this moment, but
Gotcha.
Timid's a good word. I think we're just browsing the market.
So I know you touched on it a little bit, but what services do you offer
Yeah.
to the buyers, sellers in that realm? And then do you all pack? What do you do for the client?
So we have 3 main segments of our business.
Okay.
The bulk of it, about I'd say 75% of it, is men on trucks. Okay. So we can do, I have 5 trucks. 2 of them are 16 footers.
Okay.
They're going to hold around 800 square feet. The most commonly used package that we have is what's called the do-it-all package. So it's a nice little bow-tied package that says, okay, 2 men, a 16-foot truck, everything included. So mileage and gas and insurance, labor, equipment. Our trucks come fully stocked with moving blankets, straps, dolly tools. I mean, all the basics that you would need to have a successful moving day. Mm-hmm. That comes at $150 an hour, 150. That includes everything but tax at 7%, and then any specialty items. So that's a 2-man team.
Okay.
Then we could do more muscle if we have heavier stuff or tighter corners or large volume. Or tough stairwells, that kind of thing. Townhouses is a good example. A lot of townhouses. Mm-hmm. A box in the master bedroom takes 2 minutes instead of 30 seconds times the whole house. You know what I mean? So we like to have more meat in the seats for those moments. So we can do the same size truck, 16-footer for a 3-man team at $200 an hour instead of $150. Mm-hmm. And the verbiage I use is it's going to be a comparable pricing point either way. It just depends on how long you want to be there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's our main segment is guys on trucks. And then we do offer labor only, which is just movers moving things. Usually it's a truck from out of town. Like let's say they moved from Texas into Fairmont. Mm-hmm. I'm unloading their, semi truck or their U-Haul or budget truck or what have you into the home. And then we white glove service, which means we'll put the furniture back together. I'll rearrange it in the room the way they want it to be. Mm-hmm. I'll fix the pillows just right on the couches and nice. All that. And the last segment is packing, like you mentioned. So we do offer, it's a smaller segment of our business because not everybody, it's a barrier for some people. Like they're very intimate to pack someone because you're literally going through their things and making sure they're safe and cozy for transport. So I always say time, energy, money. What's the most important resource for you that moving day? Right. And anything in between, I can pick up the slack.
Gotcha.
So what do you think sets Country Roads moving apart from other companies? And I know through using you through the years with other companies I've worked for, always repeat customers. And why do you think that is?
I mentioned it earlier, but I heard, I forget where I picked it up from. It wasn't my brainchild, but the idea of a raving fan is what I'm looking for a customer at the end of the day. So our guys know that, we did, customer service is so important to us because my running joke or dad joke is we're not the circus. We can't leave when we mess up. I can't leave town when something goes awry. Right. So I'm here. I'm going to be here for a long time. That's my plan. So repeat customers are huge. Even if it's just once a year, if I can do once a year for every customer I talk to, that's a good equation for me and for our business. So our guys, it's ingrained in them and understanding that if they go smoothly for them, they have access to better tips. They get access to bonuses. Their day is more pleasant, frankly, because a happy customer is a happy person, and we like to be around happy people. And then they get referrals for more business later, which means more hours for them. So we try to ingrain that in the system of you can be an unpleasant mover, and then that's going to lead us to less work and less hours for you and less overtime. So it behooves the whole system if we're working together to make sure the task is accomplished smoothly.
And you take care of them, they'll take care of you.
So
you show up to work and are good. But congratulations to you guys. 2024, Marion County's Best of. 2025
Yeah.
Mon County, Morgantown
Yeah.
Best of. So
We're very-
congratulations for
thank you.
that.
Thank you.
That's a great accomplishment. And you started in 2017 in such a short ride. I think it's fantastic that you all have come so far.
I appreciate
so
it.
Fast.
Yeah, I was worried about is that Marion County was the first one they did it that year. And when I first saw it, I was like, where's your moving category? And they're like, we don't have one and we're not going to do one. I was like, okay, well, I want in. Where can you shove me into this pile? And they said, well, how about customer service? I was like, okay. And I looked at the list and it's like dealerships and hospitals
Everything.
and banks. And I'm like, I'm sweating on because these are like some big name people. And we just had, family, friends, professionals just supporting us in that voting process. And we won that category, which I'm very proud of. And we use it as like a sales sticker, when we're
Sure.
talking to people about it to say,
You should
hey,
be proud of
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Very good.
And could you break down the full service move-in fees and
Sure.
stuff and the packages, so
Yeah.
our customers could get an idea?
Yeah. So most of our website and the verbiage I use over the phone and our contracts are all going to reflect the same pricing. So we really try to avoid, as me for a customer, I don't like surprise fees.
Sure.
It bothers me. I'd rather be more comfortable knowing it's going to happen and pay it than it be like, even if it's a couple bucks, it's like they're just trying to sneak something in. That hurts my feelings.
Right.
So I try to avoid that for the customers. So our verbiage is very black and white. We do the first 30 minutes of drive time free of charge. So from our dispatch center to wherever, it's a 30-minute circle for free. Anything past that, we charge drive time. And it depends on how many guys are in the truck. So I mentioned a second ago, most commonly is 2 guys on a 16-footer. That's going to be $150 an hour. If you wanted a beefier truck, we have 3 20-footers now. One's a lift gate for bigger stuff, commercial stuff if we need it, and the other 2 are walk-up ramps. We do a one-time $100 charge for that larger truck, but logistically, you're going to get 50% more capacity in those trucks.
Yeah.
So I pitch it as this, is that, we can decide, are we going a 45-minute commute? I can do multiple trips with a 16-footer, that takes time, or I can do a charge for a larger truck and be more logistically efficient, right? Because I want to be profitable, but I also want to be a smooth experience for them, again, to keep them happy, because when you're happy about a service or a business, you tell 2 or 3 of your friends. When you're mad about a business, you tell 8 or a dozen of your friends.
They get on Facebook
Yeah,
community.
you get on Facebook and you get, and rightfully so. And not that we've never made mistakes, but we want to avoid those moments because again, we're going to be here for a while, so we try to keep.
And we're all human.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when we do make buckaboos, is what I call them, is we just make it right. That's the quick version to a long story. So I always paint the picture of, okay, let's say we move this table and there's a scratch in the top. So I go to that customer and say, to your comfort level, do you want me to get a repairman out there? Do you want me to do a discount on today's services, or do we need to talk about replacement? Obviously a scratch wouldn't necessarily merit a replacement, but some pieces are Wayfair, I'm not worried about it, and some pieces are, my great-grandmother brought this from Germany. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's different levels financially and emotionally, respectfully, of what things mean to people. And I try to kind of edge and flow with their needs on that. So I let them kind of guide me on how to make them happy. I'd rather lose a couple $100 for one customer and keep them in at least neutral with me, respectfully, hopefully positively in our light. That way, next time they have a need or they hear somebody having a need, they call. Those moments are more important than, again, saving a few bucks on an oopsie.
Right.
So when folks are getting ready to move,
Mm-hmm.
buyers getting ready to move, what do you see that they are doing that causes them more headaches that you may advise them to do differently to cause less stress?
So, great question. I would say the conversation have over the phone is a quick roadmap of a success story for their move day.
Okay.
So because they didn't hire us for packing, that's their job now. And they're not pros. It's not hard to put things in boxes. You can do it correctly and incorrectly.
Mm-hmm.
Big things for us is that, any of these boxes that we're moving with them, our ask is they're taped top and bottom. That keeps their items safe and our guys safe too. We ask that all furniture we move is empty of contents and that anything they want moved is dismounted off the walls, padded and protected and ready. So outside of that, their goal is to keep everything that they want moved is not loosey-goosey, you know what I mean, that shelf of books. I can move that, but I'm not going to be able to safely put that on a truck and have that drive across town and be unloaded somewhere. So we also offer same-day packing materials. So like things like TV boxes or wardrobe boxes, mattress bags is a common one just to keep, it's a one-time use bag to keep the mattress cleanly. So in the conversation I have from minute one contact, Usually it's over the phone.
Okay.
I explain what we do and how we do it and when we can do it. We look at the schedule. Monday through Friday, standard pricing. Saturday and Sunday, we have a one-time $100 fee to help combat overtime for our staffing. And we only do two to four jobs on weekends anyway, so it's not a lot for us. But all the verbiage we get from them, which is the times, the dates, who's my main point of contact, where am I going, and then I get an inventory list from them as well. So they're trying to roadmap me, okay, I needed a one-bedroom apartment, but it's actually a 1,200 square foot one-bedroom apartment, and there's 100 boxes, and we're on the fourth floor, and I try to get all those details, so I'm sending my crews out for success too. They might be passionate about two guys, and I'm like, okay, what I'm hearing is we need three. So I know two guys sounds cheaper,
Right.
but cheaper by the hour for more hours doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? But we just try to guide the customer the best we can for move day. And I put all that in writing as well. So they have a text message from our business that says, hey, here's the plan. I'm Jake. I'm with Country Roads. Here's your addresses. Here's the dates. Here's the start times. Here's the pricing points. Here's all my asks from you. Can you look it over to make sure it's correct? So that way there's not a miscommunication, best we can, from what we talked about over the phone to what happens on reality on move day.
So you sound very organized, very detailed, very know what to expect. So you kind of answer the movers' questions before they even ask it, because it's going to come up.
That's my hopes. I mean, there's always like a little side notes of something different. I've got special items, or hey, there's a third address I forgot about. Do we want to pick up some stuff from my grandma's house, or I forgot about the storage shed. So we can, because we're hourly, 98% of the time it is that structure. It's very rare we do like a sticker price for a move, because if they have some needs changed, like let's say we move you and your plan was to sell this bedroom or this suite of furniture before we showed up. The buyer never shows up and now it's here. If you get a sticker price from a mover, they're going to say, well, that's extra weight that we didn't plan. So there's more prices to be had. And that gets kind of complicated. So for me, it's like, okay, I have a 3-hour minimum payment each day we show up and a 10-hour max capacity.
Okay.
And that gives our guys a get out of jail free card. We talked about it earlier.
Yes.
That says, there's got to be an ending point to the day too, because we've learned that the hard way, where days turn into 12, 13, 14-hour days, and that's just, they keep adding and adding, which is fine, but like our people are human. They need to rest, and when they're fatigued, issues happen. So we try to roadmap it to where I get as much info from them and they give, they get as much info from me of like black and white, here's the plan. And if we need to deviate, we can to some degree. So like this bedroom suite's now here. Okay, just know it's going to take us 10 extra minutes. You know what I mean? To pack this up, pat and protect it with moving blankets to make sure it's not damaged in transit, and then white glove it in the new place and rearrange it the way they want it to be. So we have it set up pretty well, but there's still outliers of, hate to say issues, but things that like aren't expected, or they didn't check that notation I had in the phone. They didn't see that for some reason. But most of the time, we're very blessed to be in this area where I feel like there's a lot of reasonable people. And it makes me think of, we don't take deposits. So a lot of moving companies in the industry require a credit card, require a deposit. We don't do that. I don't think that structure, frankly, would work everywhere in the country. I think this area, it works well because there's a lot of just trustworthy and respectful people in this region. I see hundreds a year, and they are that for sure. But that kind of leaves me liable to where I'm reserving trucks. I'm guaranteeing guys hours to go do something, and sometimes they're not ready or whatever else. But that's just, I'd rather bite the bullet than ask someone, hey, can you give me $50 before I even show up? You know what I mean? That's kind of a weird moment too. I don't really want that. I wouldn't want that for me.
Yeah. Is there a sweet spot when they should book a move, and especially the summertime and stuff like that? When should they be reaching out to you?
The quick answer is as soon as they know. That's the quick answer. So I had a phone call yesterday for a job today, and we booked it. So we had a 2-man crew and a 20-foot truck out. We're going to Bridgeport. It was a complex to complex, the same property, 2 different buildings. They said, what's your earliest? I was like, I always ask, when are you hoping for me to be there? Because I don't want to guess when they want me to be there. And they said, well, as soon as possible. So I could be there in 14 hours.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh. It's like, well, you asked when as soon as I could be. I have a truck and crew available. Yeah. So really 2 weeks is a sweet spot, I think. That way they can kind of cherry pick. Because Monday through Friday, we're trying to run 5 trucks a day. That's our goal. And if we have 3 or 4 I get this itch like, there's a truck sitting there. It needs to be out accomplishing
Doing
somebody's
something.
task. Yeah, that's what you buy them for. But Saturday and Sunday, it's if you want a weekend spot, I mean, it's like a month in advance would be better because that's because people don't want to take work off.
Right.
You know what I mean? They'd rather trade $100 fee for being able to be with their spouse and kids while they're moving. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But 2 week notice is really the good spot for it normally.
Okay.
Now you mentioned the boxes and the bags. So you have a walk-in area where someone not moving with you can come in and buy?
I mean,
or no?
We do have the brick and mortar.
Okay.
It's more of a dispatch center is what I would call it. So it's really not like a open, come on in, we have store hours or anything. So we have pallets of supplies available. We get walk-ins asking questions every blue moon or so of like, hey, I want to know more about your business or hourly, or I am looking for, do you have any spare boxes, that sort of thing, which is no problem. But the store, we wouldn't really say we have a storefront. I'd say it's more like it really is a place where the guys can come in the morning, get our team meeting set out, make sure the trucks are good, get ourselves logistically lined up, and head out the door. I mean, it's meat and potatoes. And then when I'm not there, often nobody is. So like in this moment now, by happenstance, my supervisor's sitting there, but not everybody's always there. So we have a number on the door that says it's locked. So if they try to get in or knock and nobody's there, they can just give me a call, and I keep that number usually glued to my hip pretty tight.
Gotcha.
Because every call is a potential job, and we got to get it.
Absolutely.
So,
I just wanted to make sure that that was clear, that if we...
They can buy it, you know what I mean? Oftentimes, like, it's going to be more economical to get it. It's very comparable to like a Lowe's or a Home Depot pricing, or you can even buy kits on Amazon. But, our boxes is nice because they're uniformed. So it's kind of hard when you have like, okay, I've got 10 boxes from Dollar General. I got 5 boxes from Walmart. My uncle had some boxes in his, and they're all like funky shapes. And they're 5 or 10 years old, and they're beat up, and they're not holding well. Like, that makes it more challenging.
Tape
and a little
comes
bit
undone. And
everything
falls out.
So it's better to get new and uniformed as long as they're in good shape.
Gotcha.
Any advice for families moving with small kids and pets and any... that could be a venture within itself. You know?
Sure.
A babysitting service for the move day. I think really, I mean, if you can go distract the kids elsewhere, respectfully, that's going to be the smoothest because, pets are fine. Often the family is going to either have the dog somewhere else or the cat somewhere else, or teed up in a room, right? There's a bathroom somewhere. I say, hey, that's my cat's locked in there or whatever. When we first arrive to the customer's house, usually first thing that morning, we'll show up with the contract and the crew, touch base, review the contract with them, get a timestamp, and then do a walkthrough. So in that moment, we say, hey, what does need to go, what doesn't need to go, and that's when they say, okay, I've got the pet teed up here, or the kids are I'm taking them to school in a little bit, I'll be back, or whatever else. So I'd say, logistically, simplistically, kids and pets would be easier for us if they're out of the way, because we don't want to trip on them. I'm carrying a couch that's 400 pounds.
Right.
I don't want to step on a cat. I can't see from underneath me.
No.
Or a dog trip me and then I'm hurting myself or something else. So, but it's most people, they kind of catch that memo without even saying it. They make sure things are teed up and put away for us, which is pretty nice.
So, delicate things, pianos.
Yeah.
Grandma's china cabinet. Things that are vintage, breakable.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do extra care wise? I know you brought us some props here that we're going to show here in a little bit. So tell me about a big piano.
So I mentioned it a little bit before, but there's a small list of items that I've learned the hard way over the years that are called specialty items.
Okay.
So at the beginning when I first started, it was like, you have items not glued down to the floor, I'll move it at this price, at this hourly rate. And then after like the 5th or 6th 800-pound gun safe, I'm like, what? Maybe if I
didn't even think about that.
That was really hard. Maybe if I charged extra, it'd be better for everybody. So eventually we learned that there's some items that we do have additional rates for that are like you mentioned, a piano is what I think of it. We do charge pianos. Now, baby grands and grands, the one you see in fancy movies with bow ties and tuxedos, we don't touch those. Okay. So I have a referral partner I work with that owns a piano store that does that on the side. Oh, okay. So he's licensed and insured. I always refer him, and we can help him on some moments, and or they usually separate those 2 minutes. But Upright pianos, we move those. That can range anywhere between like $300 and $600, depending on
Just
the
for
piano.
the piano.
Just the piano,
Gotcha.
right? And in that category, specialty items, we do a bonus structure for our staffing. So just transparently, we cut that price in half, and our staff gets half, and the business gets half.
Okay.
wow.
And that just kind of by definition, incentivize them to make sure, hey, I've got a really hard day ahead of me, but I have a reason for it. You know what I mean? So I want to make sure that goes smooth. I want to make sure this 500-pound piano is placed where it needs to be safely, and I'm going to be compensated for that. So that really kind of helps, because it was a hard lesson to learn, because guys were just doing that anyway, and they have access to see what the shifts look like, and they'd say, I might not make it to that piano job tomorrow. I might take the other shift that's not a gun safe one. So that list is a simple one, but it's gun safes, pianos, hot tubs. We don't move hot
I didn't
tubs.
think about that either.
Yeah, so I say it's on my list, but I actually don't move them. I refer that out as well to another company in Fairmont.
Okay.
But hot tubs, let's see, pianos, hot tubs, pool tables is one, billiard tables, workout equipment, massage chairs, grandfather clocks. So that's kind of the more challenging pieces, and we have
Specials.
fees. Yeah, but so workout equipment's easy. We do $50 per each. It's like a treadmill, an elliptical. These are hundreds of pounds of equipment, and sometimes
Right.
people are buying like the commercial versions for their home. So we got to like look up online and get it taken apart, and all these wires and screws and stuff, because a lot of times they come in kits from China, and they can get through the door, and you build them in here,
Right.
and then you built them in here. They
Right.
don't come back out, so they got to take apart. So the delicate ones, we just have some training set up for our guys and teed up, and we have some specialty equipment for the gun safes and the pianos. And then YouTube's our friend when it comes to
YouTube's everybody's friend.
He's our
Everybody's friend,
friend.
yes.
So
That
it's like,
duct
hey,
tape.
yeah, bear with us. We're going to be a few minutes. I'm going to make sure I do this correctly. I don't want to rush something, and make sure you spend $1,000 on a treadmill. You don't want it to be non-operational at the other end. You know what I mean? Want to make sure it's taken care of. So our guys have been with us. We have several guys of 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 month. You know what I mean? So just a different variants of skill sets. We just make sure the right skill sets are on the right jobs. And
But
then
again,
guys
you
are
take
trained.
care of your employees, and that's why they stay around. And you don't just discount them. Hey, move this. This is so
They're
that's
the
very
lifeblood.
admirable.
They're the lifeblood. So I mean,
Yeah.
I can't move 5 people in a day.
Sure.
I used to move people all the time. I haven't, now I'm like a substitute teacher. When guys call out and we're in a pinch, I don't want to leave a customer hanging. I'll rather go in the field and miss some phone calls at the office than leave them in a bad position, right? But the norm is I'm off the truck in the back. So the guys they're drug tested, they're background checked, they're
Nice.
trained, and they're buddied up for success. So we make sure that, again, the skill set stuff, everybody has different skills that are, a little bit fine-tuned to somebody else. This might be this is a 3-hour commute one way. This gentleman's really good at long-distance driving. He likes it. You know what I mean? This guy, he's more of a local guy. He likes to be, local town, but he's down for a 12-hour shift at 4 different addresses. That's fine. They got 3 aunts and a cousin that they want to go to drop a bed off, and a
Sure.
dresser and everything else. So just kind of managing who's doing what and when is a fun task. But our guys are, I'm a little biased, but they're compensated well, and they have bonus structures, and tips are a part of the business too. They also get access to free furniture, which is, a part of the trip, or part of the job too. So guys, let's say we move you guys, and you don't want this, you're like, hey, can you guys just make this disappear? And, our guys, whoever's on that job gets first access. That's kind of part of their little structure. So they say, okay, my mom would love that. You know what I mean? So that's,
Right.
So they know that, they have options and some incentives to work with us, and we make sure that they're happy. And if they need time off, they get time off. And we always say, family first, money second, right? So if you have something going on in your family, it behooves me to keep them happy as employees,
Right.
because they're going to work harder and longer. You know what I mean? When I really need them. So, and you can't do it perfectly all the time, right? So there is a bit
It
of a
sounds like
revolving
you're
door.
doing very well in that department. So
Do you offer storage options for people that are in between homes? And then, I see it very
Yeah.
common nowadays, because people will sell and then they won't be closing
Right.
on the new house.
There's that tough in between. Yeah, I mean, you guys see it more by firsthand than I do.
Yeah.
I mean, well, yes and no, but so we don't have storage ourselves. That's a quick version. But I have a lot of referral partners that I use depending on the city, who I think is consistent and clean and well priced and well managed, temperature controlled. Depends on priorities for the customer, right? They want logistical convenience, like closer, or do they want to go 10 more minutes and have somewhere that's safe and secured, right? Not that there's all kinds of business out there in the storage world, but we don't have any ourselves. But I always say, hey, if you're in this city, this area, here's who I would call first, and I don't have any incentive to that. It's just they're good people to work with. And they've been good referral partners to us as well, because if they're being tried and true, and I'm treating their customers the same, it's a mutual beneficial relationship. But we don't have any storage ourselves.
Have you ever seen a move for someone who just closed their house? The closing didn't get done when they were supposed to have gotten done, and you got bumped back.
Right.
Has that ever happened? And what occurs?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
it has happened.
Okay, I'm sure it has. So what do you do?
Great question. So in the verbiage I send, so let's say again, you're the customer. You call me for 2 weeks from now. Hey, I'm told, because you're a resident, right? I'm told my real estate agent told me closings on XYZ at this office at this time, and so we get you booked. Oftentimes, like when a customer's doing a closing, let's say that they have a 10 a.m. closing on their starting address, I can be there unloading, loading my truck to start the day as they're about to sell it. You know what I mean? Or when they're about to purchase something, let's say they're buying a new home at 10, the closing's at 11, I can be almost at the door by the time they're done with closing with a truckload ready. So we're being as efficient as we can. But things do happen in delays, and I use that verbiage over the phone, is that, a lot of times those delays aren't customer, it's not them doing it, right? They're not like, I don't feel like doing it today. That's not normally the mood. No one really feels like doing it, right? It's a challenging moment for them, or it can be. But our verbiage for them is a 36-hour cancellation policy. So we have a $100 fee that we charge people that if it's a reschedule or cancellation within 36 hours. And it's very rare that we actually initiate that. It's more like hey, if you have things that you see that's going to change, just give me warning. You know what I mean? Like, again, I'm a mom and pop store. I'm not some corporate monster. I don't want that $100. I want to move you. I'd rather us successfully move you the day and time that you asked me for. I'm not picking a day for you. So we have that in place. But if things happen, like, I went to the hospital, or my mom's something, okay, no problem. Life happens. Let's look at what happens next. And I'll see about filling that spot with the guys to make sure that our 14, 15 guys have work. Because that's my role too, right? I have to make sure that they're paid and compensated to make sure they have a good living for their families.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, but it happens. It's not a super big moment, not often a moment rather, but it does happen periodically.
I just know as a real estate agent that I've been at the table and things have broken down, especially when we're talking about with Mylan, when they found out they were ready to close, and then Mylan shut down, and and
that was their income. That was their income for the loan.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, they're like the day before or whatever, and
they got to notice that you're not going to have a job in a month or whatever it was.
So the loan is going to fall through.
Yeah.
So, I was just curious, when those things arise, what you do. So it's good to know that you're there to help them through that challenge.
Things happen, And
life happens.
In my mind, I'm like, I don't want the $100. I'd rather move you when you're ready. You know what I mean? And then again, raving fan, I want you to, even if this unpleasant delay is a part of your life, I want my side of the puzzle to be stress-free.
Right.
So when they call and say, I'm freaking out, I'm getting a phone call, the people are backing out, or the landlord's not ready, or the paint wasn't done, the floors aren't in, there's always something.
Right.
Not always, but things happen. Like, hey, no problem. This is life. I tell it to my daughter all the time. It's just a part of life. So I'm not going to be stressing about it. I'll make logistical plans. I used to be, because years of entrepreneurship and business is just like, you try to pull your emotional part of the brain out of it. You know what I mean? It's so hard because you spend so many hours, like I'm sure you guys do, in your own field. And like today, for instance, you put so much time, effort, and money into this field. It's hard to separate your personal of like, that hurts my feelings. Like, all the work I've done to set this up. You get a closing delay, you're like, well, I guess I'll wait another month for this, commission to get through. I've been working on it for months for you. So I know it's a painful moment. So we try to make it as relaxing and stress-free as you can, during those times. But it happens.
That's great.
And I know you've touched base throughout. What's something that most people don't know but goes into a successful move for them? It seems like you adapt to a lot of things, and you're very able to adapt, but what's something that can help them for a successful move?
I mean, so when I do have the text message exchange of a customer, a part of that is asking for an itemized list of items that they're having us move, and that list can adjust. You know, it's not a big deal. And then photos as well. So I'm asking customers. My verbiage is any photos you feel comfortable in sharing. So I'm not
Right.
going to force someone to give me photos, or if they're not phone savvy, or again, they don't want pictures of their couch somewhere. That's
Right.
fine. What I'm doing there is just to say, hey guys, who's working tomorrow, here's what you should be expecting for your workday. Surprises are fun, but not every day for your work. So we don't want to send somebody into thinking it's okay, this is going to be a 3-hour job and now it's a 12-hour job. That really messes your brain up a little bit. When your employer says, I need you for an extra hour, that's not usually, it's like extra hours. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I ask our customers just to give us as much data as they can.
Right.
That makes it a lot smoother for us. And again, in that text also says, we need clear pathways in the home, respectfully. So we need to be able to walk in and out of the entrance and exits of the property you need us to be on. I need winter time. January was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'd show up to customers' houses and there would be no shoveling done. And it's like, I'm obviously that wasn't on top of your mind. I have to carry everything in your home
Right.
out through this ice. So we bring shovels and we have salt in the trucks for those moments. And, that is going to be a part of our service. We'll start the clock and say, if you need me to help you shovel, that's what we'll do. You know what I mean? But, it's better if they're just prepared the best they can, which is just making sure pathways are clear and items are packed in boxes. And, we can pick up the pieces a little bit if there's some here and there moments. But
I want to know about the old couches that have the pull-out beds.
The pull-out beds. They're the best. They're so great. I'd much rather have like the Ashley furniture, Star
Yeah.
furniture, recliners, the button
Yeah.
recliners. Those are bears. Usually you can get, let's say if this is a 3-seater, there'd be a middle chunk that
Right.
stays and you can pull the top two
Right.
and you can tip it to the door and it still feels like 400 pounds. I've never weighed it, but I'm sure it's huge. Those are every other house has one in the basement. Somebody's grandma bought it 40 years ago, and so we throw a ratchet strap through the inside, and we'll
keep
ratchet
it there.
strap it to where it doesn't actually pop out
Wow.
as you're moving it, because you have to tip it through doorways, and we'll just walk out like this. So, I mean, that's again with the inventory list, and let's say we're on a 3rd floor, I would say maybe a 3rd man might be a good idea for this moment, so that. Not that, again, that I'm chasing that extra hourly rate. It's more like I'd rather you have a success story and have a little more hands on deck for these tight moments or tough pieces. You know what I mean? So
especially how heavy they are.
yeah, they're stout and they're older. Every other family's got one.
Yeah.
It seems
Oh,
like.
yeah.
So, are you currently hiring any professional movers?
I just hired in 3 guys, and we're about to hire. And what we do is a 3-stage process for our hiring is over the phone interview, in person, and then what I call working interview. So we do a 3 or 4 day working process where they're covering our insurance, they're wearing our t-shirts, they've done some training, they're on the job site, working with our guys to see if we're a good fit for them and they're a good fit for us, right? So we're very, very close to offering another position for another gentleman, and that'll put us at 15 right now. And that's kind of our sweet spot. So we're always taking applications. There's some days that I'm flooded with too many jobs and not enough guys. You're always chasing that marker.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Kind of like houses. I got
Absolutely.
too many buyers, not enough sellers, or vice versa, or too much inventory, not enough inventory. Nobody's calling. So you're always chasing those 2 mile markers on how many people do you need versus that. But we always are taking applications. I'm always open to an interview, and I keep kind of like a running list of, hey, who's next up to bat, right? To have that conversation. And they know, and I'm transparent with them, like, hey, we're not hiring at this second, but I'm going to put you on the oops, I need a guy list. And then when we need a guy, I'm going to give you a call. And often it starts as a part-time, because we do a seniority. So the 15 guys we have, the guy who's been here the longest, he will work every day that he wants. And then pretty much between like the 10 and 13, that's when they're looking at kind of part-time, work. So part-time could be 5 hours a week. Usually it's like 20, but 20 to 50 hours a week. Just depends on how often they can say yes and how much work we need. So when we do bring somebody in, we say, hey, seniority, you'll have it too someday, but right now you are on the lower portion of the list. So the other guys ahead of you, I've already made promises to. They eat first, and then you come in there. And it's a good structure because it incentivizes guys to want to stay longer when they get in a good position, and they can cherry pick their days. And I've got guys that want to work 6 or 7 days a week, and I've got guys that want to work 2 or 3 days a week. So,
Right.
I don't want to lose a good worker because of their availability. So I usually just kind of ebb and flow with them. I can't, if you come to me and say, I only want to work 4 days a week, what am I going to do? Combat you?
Right.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Make you come in for a 5th day or a 6th day? Like, you're not going to like it. You're not going to be appreciative, but you are going to hear me say, okay, if that's what you want, then that's what I'll allot. And that means I need to get somebody else to fill on those days that you're not free. You know what I mean? So as long as you're communicating with me, I'm going to be as much communicative as you as I can.
Yeah, your job structure sounds very, very cool.
And how do you handle curveballs like the weather? Do you actually ever cancel, or of course, the cancellations you touch base on that, and you'll usually
really it's
reschedule.
winter. That's the January. I have some PTSD from this last January for sure. So it's a slower time. Winter's slower for us.
Right.
Summer being. Usually I'm booked like anywhere from 6 to 10 days in advance, almost to a T.
Right.
And then winter, if you look behind my schedule, I'm full. But if you look ahead, I'm answering every phone call to make sure that 2 days from now we have work, right? And pushing all the leads and going out in the community and touching base with people and keeping the name going forward. But cancellations for winter weather is usually the problem. Rain doesn't scare us. So if it scares the customer, that's up to them.
Yeah.
Right. So we can do, like, if we're moving a customer today and it starts thundering, lightning and thunder, we pause. So if there's nothing efficient to do in the house, like let's say it's dumping rain outside, in lieu of just stopping the clock for everybody, we just take apart the beds or stage the boxes or there's always
The
something
Peloton.
to preparing a Peloton bike. But really it's the winter weather, and essentially if the highways are open, I'm going.
Right.
That's the quick version. And we always start with a delay, just like school. I'd rather give a 2-hour delay and let the DOT or DOH guys do their thing and clear the roads. And we've got, big beefy trucks with, monster tires that are way too expensive and chain. This year we got chains, and every truck has a toolbox with, a shovel and salt and kitty litter and just all the little
Just in case box.
Just in case, yeah. And we unfortunately have to use the just in case box every once in a while, but
Gotta remember to refill it too.
yeah, as long as it's not an emergency, like they say, declare it an emergency, or what do they call it when they shut down the highways? State of emergency.
State of
Yeah,
emergency.
thank you. Pretty much as long as that's not happening, we're going.
So what's your go-to tip for people? I know we've talked about different things,
Yeah.
but if you just had one tip to recommend to buyers and sellers who are moving, what would that tip be?
Start packing earlier than you think you should. That's really because that's a hard part for a lot of customers, because we'll get to a customer's house and they'll be half packed and they're actively packing while we're there, which makes it slower for us, which costs them more money. You know what I mean? Because we have to kind of ebb and flow around. Okay, I'm not done with the living room yet. Okay, we'll go work on upstairs, and we got to walk past you. Preparing yourself for moving day prior. In a home, there's not everything in that home you need every minute, right? I mean, there's just spaces in your storage area, in your garage, or in your outbuilding, or even your living room that stuff you
Dust
don't.
collectors.
Yeah, you don't use every day.
Right.
So if you know you're going to move in a month or 2 months or 3 months, just start. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's just get a couple boxes going and pick a corner of, that's the stage and ready. And then even if you do a couple boxes a day, it's less daunting. It's less like some big task that you have to do. You don't have to build a building in a day. You can do a level at a time. You know what I mean? So in my mind, just give yourself grace, right? Know that there's statistical information out there that says moving is one of the top 5 most stressful moments in an American citizen's life.
Not surprised.
And so just know that's going to be a part of it, and there are going to be some changes. And if you've called our number and we're involved, I'm going to make it as smooth and as stress-free as possible. But your part is preparation. So give yourself some grace and some time. Prepare ahead of time before you think you should.
Right. I'm a procrastinator.
So for yourself, you started out doing it yourself, but of course you've laid back. What's your go-to snack or drink for a long moving day? Because I know you guys are busy.
On moving day, I mean, my wife's got me into those Premier shakes. It's kind of like my cheat meal not cheat meal. It's my breakfast in the morning. But I'm so often in the office. I mean, I laugh with my wife. I'm like, I can always find time for a meal. I can always find a moment, even if it's 3:00 in the afternoon is when I'm getting lunch. That's just a part of life. Because phones are going, or we got a meeting set up, or there's a networking event happening, or a community's ribbon cutting, or whatever. Because I try to be involved as much as I can. But I'd say, there's a couple good sweet spots, and Zahara's is one of my favorites in Fairmont. I always sneak down there, and it's not too far from here. And But on moving truck, I'd say pepperoni rolls and beef jerky and energy drinks. That seems to be like the three biggest ones on the moving truck that the guys are working with. But, if the customer's feeling, friendly and wants to be nice to the guys, if a cup of coffee in the morning or a box of donuts or something. Not that we need that or want that, but like who doesn't want
Nice
to
gesture.
start their day of like, hey, I've thought about you.
Right.
I want to make sure that you're, teed up for success. And
I want to send you into a diabetic coma.
yeah.
You want to take a nap.
And some guys will go all day and don't want to eat. Like that's just how their bodies work. And they say, if I eat something, I want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And then even for me, like if I work a 10-hour shift, I want a meal in the middle of that, whether it's, 30 seconds at a gas station or, a half hour at a sit down. But, I need to eat personally. But it seems like the quick stuff like pepperoni rolls is kind of the go-to for sure.
So no judgment, but what is the weirdest, craziest thing that you have ever moved?
Yeah. I saw that question. I was talking to Shay about it this morning, and he's my supervisor with Country Roads. He's been with us for about 4 years now, but he's a fantastic asset to the business. He's helped me grow it to where it is today, for sure.
That's
Just a quick
good.
shout out.
That you can have that.
Yeah. There's a couple things that come to mind. One was we had, and it's not crazy, but there was a zebra. There was a family that had a stuffed, whatever it's called,
Ceramic?
mounted actual zebra, mounted,
like the
cut,
deer.
stuffed,
Okay.
and it was like a live, well not live, but it was I can't think of the word.
Taxidermy?
Thank you, a taxidermied zebra. So they had a half, and I didn't even know you could have zebras, and that was a surprise inventory addition. I was like, okay, I'll move this half zebra.
A zebra.
And then I think another one that he mentioned, because I asked him this question too this morning. I was like, there's some things I can't mention.
Of course,
frankly,
I gotcha.
that are interesting because I'm in humans, homes, and humans are interesting. But one was we moved the restaurant. And they gave me the inventory information, and then we got the day of, they forgot to mention their $25,000 pizza oven. So we get there, the guys get to the job, and I get a phone call, and they're like, we're looking at a 1 ton.
I was going to say, that's
the customer's saying it's a $25,000. This is before I thought about specialty items, specialty items. And so I just jump in the truck and head over to the job, and I actually show up in my Birkenstocks, and me and 3 other guys move a 1
Is it like
ton.
a coal fire?
I mean, it was like the size of a baby grand piano almost, like a big square with legs on it, and it was just this monster. And it was my first time touching one or looking at it. It's a lot of entrepreneurship is learning hands-on, right? That's what in my mind it is. So that was definitely the ones that came to mind, was a pizza oven and a zebra. That's not together.
I can't believe somebody mounted Marty from Madagascar. I mean, what trauma for every kid. That goes into pets. Have you ever been at a move where you feel that the pets are more prepared than the people are?
I mean, there's moments when there's too much pet stuff happening. There are moments where pets are very involved and they're not involved, but no, most of the time, I mean, like animals are good. They're good creatures. I mean, across the board. So our guys like pets, and there are moments where it's like, that dog's a little too excited and aggressive. I might suggest putting that pup in a different section while we're in here today, you know. But again, this region's got very reasonable people, in my personal opinion, experience. So most people know, hey, my dog gets excited with people, or they don't, or they're really friendly, so I'll let them go. And who doesn't want to get a quick kiss on the leg by a dog? You know what I mean, or whatever. But it's pretty smooth.
So a theme song that would incorporate your Country Roads.
Yeah, it's an easy one. Yeah, this is an easy question. I could do that.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. Did you think about that when you named the company?
Yeah, I mean, so for a while we were like trying to figure out the business, and we wanted a name, and my wife, she's much smarter than me. We're talking about it for days, and we're on this road trip and just talking about.
We have that on camera
recording.
and audio. That
she's smarter than me.
Yeah,
she knows.
Okay, she knows.
Yeah, but we were just going through names, and there was one name I was gonna do was I used to work at a pharmaceutical company in Morgantown, and I was thinking, well, what if we named ourselves Smilin' Movers, and I put an S in front of the Mylan logo, and my wife's like, maybe we don't copyright infringement on $1 billion company.
Yeah,
so we didn't do that.
You did not do that one.
Yeah, and then the other one was going to be Moves by Jake, is what I thought it was going to be. And my wife's like, well, that almost sounds like, are you like a mover? Are you like a dancing person? Or like, what is this? So we were just talking about it on a road trip, and up comes this song on the radio, and lo and behold, it seemed like a good fit. And I didn't realize there's like a dozen other businesses that have country roads in the name, you know what I mean, in the area. There's a few restaurants and a charcuterie, and there's Country Roads Physical Therapy, and I kind of want to get a support group for all the businesses in the area for our
You
name.
got to learn the theme song to sing it top to bottom, because football season is right upon us. So.
Well, I tell you what, I've got 2 kids. I'm very blessed to have a 2 and a 5-year-old, and that has been their nursery song for me since forever. And I don't even bother to memorize the other ones. It's just the same song over and over again. So I know.
And
I know
hopefully
pretty well
our football team is going to be singing that a lot after the games.
Yeah, that's the plan. I hear.
Well, I know just when I hear the word Jake, I don't even think of from State Farm, and we might have to bleep that. Yeah. And I think of Jake from Country Roads.
Okay, good. That was definitely the easiest Halloween costume of my life. Was when that commercial came out.
Red shirt,
and just a red polo, and I put this little sticker on my shirt. I got more laughs and less effort in my whole life. But yeah, I'll get that over the phone too. Are you wearing khakis? Oh, well, yeah. Look at me now, wearing khakis. Yeah.
And just a question with the follow up around people thinking that they should, or to try to save money, they try to do the move themselves. Yeah. Why do you think they should call the pros? Because I already know how hard it is to move, but I mean, people do think that they're saving money, but
yeah, I mean, I think it's a service, right? So you can shine your own shoes, you can wash your own car, you can paint your own house, you can move yourself. For me, the verbiage I use for customers that are on that fence, LOL, picket fence, is, there's a moment between everything and nothing. There is somewhere in between those two for us. Mm-hmm. So a lot of customers, not a lot, but several of them say, we just want to hire you to move the big stuff.
Right.
And we'll do all the little stuff. Great. So I'll come in here, and there won't be a box anywhere. There won't be a picture frame or anything else, or they're doing that later, and we're just scooping up the big stuff. Okay. And the good thing with that, a lot of times, even when they tell me that verbiage, I'll say, hey, no problem. Our plan is a 3-hour minimum that day payment, right? It's a 10-hour max. You don't have to reserve any amount of times. Our guys are available the rest of the day for you if you wanted it. Mm-hmm. So if we get to the moment where the truck's half empty, all the big stuff's out of the house, and we've got time, a lot of times they're like, well, you're here. There's a stack of 50 boxes here. That's going to take me 4 hours in my car back and forth, or 20 minutes with you guys. So I often just say, if you have something that you want to change the day of, like I said before, if you hope to get the big stuff and not the little stuff, we can still do it. And oftentimes we do, because there's only so much big stuff you can stack on top of itself, in the actual box truck. And there's some, I call it dead space, where you have to put either nothing or smaller items that you can do. So it makes logistical sense often to even throw a few things in there. But there is a middle ground between doing it with me and my cousin, you know what I mean, for beer and pizza,
or Big Bubba,
and then I hurt half my stuff for myself,
right?
And paying somebody to do white glove, packing and moving everything perfectly to a T. There is a middle ground that I suggest, which is just focusing on the things that they don't want to touch.
Right.
Well, once they see you all come in and how smooth and how everything goes, they're thinking, gee, maybe they can, go ahead. But do you have a superstition or a ritual, or you have to wear, like the baseball player, your lucky gloves, or does anybody have any kind of rituals or superstitions?
Oh, that's a good one. Nothing comes to mind exactly.
Okay.
Nothing jumps out at me for that.
Just like to throw in fun questions.
Yeah. No big. I mean, for the morning, so when our guys come in, we come in at 8 o'clock is the norm. We're out the door by 8:15, and in that 15 minutes, we provide water and ice free of charge for our staffs and coolers, so they have access to that, and they'll get it on their truck. And a lot of guys are taking that time to mentally prepare. You know what I mean? It's a nice words, like they're filling out the contract, they're looking over what the day is. There's, I put notes in there, okay, bring a TV box, or, they have a certain hutch that their grandmas that they're concerned about, they want to make sure we're taken care of, or there's a specialty item to be looking for that day, or there's a third address. So they're kind of reviewing that. So I think there's less of a item they're using or working with, and more maybe rituals. A nice one is they're doing some Zen moments, preparing themselves for the day, and we're having a chance to kind of get some camaraderie together and talking about what the day looks like, and last week's success stories and this week's potential challenges, and just a moment for us to all kind of powwow a little bit because most of their day I don't see them at all. You know, I mean, we have track truckers, but it's not to track them. It's just to make sure that the equipment's safe. So I always say, if you need me and support me, or you need me in the field, I'll go out there. So it's pretty rare that I'm actually like seeing them on the job. You know what I mean? So that's a nice moment for us.
It's nice that you can trust them to just go do the job because you have had them for so long, and your newbies, I guess the seniorities, take care of the
so we buddy them up to say, hey, like especially like packing is kind of like the more intimate, training part. So we do, a couple hours preemptively in the office and some videos and that kind of thing. But, we get guys out in the field that are, tenured with those that might need a little bit of, help or they're new. It's not rocket science picking it up, moving somebody, but it's hard to do that 30 times a week, times the whole year, successfully without damage. So there are some tricks to the trade for sure.
What's the funniest or most unexpected thing that has ever happened during one of the moves?
Again, there's a couple stories that come to mind.
Sure there are.
That are, how do I say, paraphernalia related, I think.
Okay.
People think they have things tucked away and they don't. I'll let your brains decide where that goes. But nothing crazy. Like I said, most people, know that where we're going, what we're doing. We'll find, an item that might need their attention and we'll say, hey, there's something over. You might want to go check out that closet for a second before we move it. That's not a common moment, but every once in a while we'll have that too. And customers, they want to give thanks to the guys. They want to give tips. The guys will come home with like, food that they gave them, or they made them food, or here's a couple steaks we had in the freezer. Would you like them? Like that little niceties. So that's one thing that comes to mind of people that like they want to do tips. They might do cash, they might do items, they might do guys have gotten gift cards from people, and we get all kinds of cool goodies that customers just say, hey, I don't need this anymore. Here's my thanks to you. Here is one comes to mind. The guy had like 15 or 20 African antique weapons, like cool bow staffs with like big knuckle woods on the top, and they're unused, display pieces. And one of the guys got 2 or 3 of them and they gave it to me at the Christmas party. He gave me one of them and I still got it at the house, but I don't know when I'm going to need an African weapon, but I have one.
Put it up with the zebra.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, put it up with the zebra. Little PTSD for the zebra.
I'm hurt over Marty being on the wall.
Just half of him. The other half's safe somewhere, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right, for my last question.
Yes.
If you were able to move anyone,
yes,
living or past,
oh, I forgot about this one. Yeah,
who would it be? Famous, unfamous, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Who
I gotta
would it be?
think. Hopefully, somebody with some light stuff is my first thought. Just something, a delicate house, or maybe a long distance drive. That sounds nice. West Virginia. I'll tell you what, I would. That's where I'm at, right? West Virginia.
Yes.
That's a good question. That's a really good question.
Take me home.
Who I can think of who I'd like to hang out and meet is Jim Carrey. I think he's a cool dude and funny guy.
Okay.
I think it'd be an interesting moving day to be
I bet
hanging
it
out
would.
with him all day and cracking jokes back and forth.
You don't know which character you're going to get.
I don't know which character he's going to be in or which mood I'm going to be in either, but I think that would be, if I had to pick somebody, I think it'd be cool to move Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Very neat.
As long as he's not into the liar character. You're doing such a good job.
We moved. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's funny. Nice.
But what is one item that people forget to pack? Is it the remote toilet paper? On the move.
So when we do like the packing service portion, often that conversation, we'll show up just like in the regular day. We'll have a contract. We get a timestamp. We go through the do's and don'ts, and then a part of that process is what aren't we not packing, right? That's an important question. So like your overnight bag, your medication. There's a small grocery list like jewelry, firearms, ammunition, personal documents, cash. All those things that we want you to take everything that you think is in that category and put it away in a corner, and we'll get everything else teed up and packed up for you. We try to just make sure all your delicate things that they're worried about are teed up and ready. Would be what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Well, Jake, I sure appreciate your time today. Is there anything that we haven't talked about you want to mention about Country Roads moving?
Oh, that's a great question. No, I think for me, I'm thankful and blessed and appreciative of the community, and I think and thankful for my spouse, Paige, and our staff are just a huge part of it. So their continued efforts and us, learning how to grow and navigate the changing markets, just like you guys are playing with. Because when you guys feel the effects of, a good customer or a rough market or a
Right.
challenging, mortgage rates. We're feeling that too, because people aren't moving when they're not
Right.
buying and selling. So I would say, I'm thankful for the professionals like you guys are here. We've worked, been blessed to work with you guys a couple different times, even without even knowing so, which is the
Right.
fun part, because when I move into a house, I don't know who's at closing table. That's not a question I ask, you know what
Sure.
I mean? But we've heard comments of people saying good and smooth experiences. When they start their closing day happy and comfortable, that's a really good place for us to start as well. You know what I mean? So I would just say I'm appreciative of the real estate professionals in North Central West Virginia, just doing what they're supposed to be doing legally and morally. I think is a huge part of it. So
Absolutely.
We just have to get the customers out of the 2022. Everybody still thinks they're there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
for just rates, you mean, or pricing?
Yeah,
Everybody.
It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's wild.
But at least
Yeah.
we have more inventory now, so we're good.
That's great. That's really good. That's awesome.
But
to hear.
again, appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming, and we're just glad to have you here. And sounds like you're doing a great job. And the thing I glean from you is how you take care of your staff.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see that a lot. I know in the past when I have moved to come here, I made a phone call. You available? Yes. This date? Yes. And people show up. That's it. You know, I got none of what you have talked about today,
Right.
and the taking care of their guys, and it just amazes me in your structure. So I appreciate you.
Sharp knives are made from grinding them smooth, right? So that's really what we've done for the last, it feels like 10 years. It's just getting a system that makes sense for everyone involved, financially and personally and work life, and people have work life balances. So our guys work really hard, and if there's a version of me making their day smoother, I can, and if I can't, I can't. But it cycles back to the people in this region, both the employees and the tenants and the residents and the professionals out there. It's just, I don't think our system we have set up now would be as fruitful or successful in different regions of different types of people. It just wouldn't.
Right.
We're very blessed to be in a community that just is supportive and appreciative, and our guys see it, and that's what brings them back. It's a service. You know what I mean? They're helping people, and often we're in like senior care facilities or elderly folk or people that just aren't capable of doing the moving themselves, and I think that's a good energy feeder to our guys to say it's not just a job. You don't need fries with that. You know what I mean? That's not something you need, but you do need your couch moved into your new home, and that's a really cool moment to say, I've done that for you, and you're thankful and appreciative. So just having that appreciation and thanks, and the good reviews that we've gotten are from those giving thanks, which is huge for us. Having a 4.9 star review on Google is important to me, you know what I mean, to just kind of highlight our guys working so hard, and it helps us get business in the future as well. We're a few reviews away from 600, which I'm really,
Wow.
anybody out there that wants to
Yes.
say I was, whatever on there would be great. I'm almost there, but I'd say overall it's just a good community. That's a big
In
part
just a
of
short time. So
Yeah.
appreciate you doing fantastic work, and we enjoy working with you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.